Hello, everybody. Welcome to a fantastic new year. I really hope that you had time to rest during the festive season and that you had time to spend time with your family and friends. We've had a crazy 2 last years, and at least now we're beginning to see a normal which we can cope with and socialize again and meet people that we haven't perhaps met for a long time just because of circumstances. Tonight, I'm really interested and excited to share with you this product, which I think can really transform your classroom. The way you can interact and engage with it, the way that you can actually get your students to be collaborating, and the way you can actually collaborate with your students. We often think of interactive boards as just a teacher-centered tool, but this tool can be used for more than that. And so I'm really, really excited for you to learn more about touchtutor. And this evening, I'm being joined by Jaco. Jaco is South Africa's representative of touchtutor. So Jaco, tell me why you actually sell these interactive boards. What interests you about them?
Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for having us tonight. I appreciate the opportunity and for sharing it on your platform. Thank you so much. And before I answer your question, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you so much for spending your valuable free time choosing to spend it with us tonight to learn a little bit more about our interactive panels. And then before I go on, I just want to mention in the start that we are having a free giveaway of a 3-month demo. So if you want to be involved in anything like that, please just send an email. You can request a quote, you can request more information, anything like that. Just engage with us and use the code EVOLVE-KCSA22, and you will be entered into the draw for a free 3-month giveaway or demo for this panel that you can use in your classroom to see if it will work for you in the school. Then I also want to say, yes, Cara.
I was just going to say, so yes, so use the code and email it to this email. So it's only valid till tomorrow. So you need to hop in and send it through. There are the 2 great prizes that touchtutor is we spoke about swapping them around. tutortouch is offering this evening. So please, if you're interested, if it's something that your school would like to consider, send the code, try it out for 3 months, and then perhaps you can actually consider buying one, and they're great opportunities to win there as well. So thanks for the offer, guys. That's really great to the people watching.
I also just want to mention that if you do decide on purchasing and you've used the code, you will be eligible for a free gift of either a speakerphone or a webcam, a 4K webcam, to the value of 4,000 Rand, absolutely for free. So it's just, please feel free to contact us for any information, and we can take the conversation further. All right, and then Karen, yes.
Answer my question. So why do you want to sell these things?
It's, how can I say, tech has been evolving at such a dramatic pace nowadays that I feel like sticking to your old tech might just leave you behind in the teaching space. And I'm getting new children or new age children to engage with you. I think just it will be much better if they understand the product or the device that you might be using, because they all spend time on their laptops, on their tablets, on their mobile devices. They are extremely intertwined with tech. And if you can get them involved through the classroom, I'm sure the learning processes and lesson information retention will be through the roof at the end of the day. I'm sure this is a product for everybody. It's easy to use, easy to understand. If you're not scared of tech, this is definitely the product for you.
Cool. So if we think about this product that you are using and the interest around it, can you tell me, why do you think it's so important for teachers and students to engage on a device like this? Why do you think that adds value to teaching?
Well, when I started at KCSA, the saying that was firstly taught to me was doing is learning. And we've learned that children do learn through imitating. And I think if you can engage with your students and actually show them that you are kind of on the same level, but you are teaching them how to move forward in life with giving them the skills through the interactive panel, and by not just teaching you and you looking at the panel and taking in information, you're actually engaging with the information, you're working with the panel, and that's, I think, will let you retain the information a lot better in the long run than just sitting and learning. How can I say, the parrot method of learning is just taking in the information and reiterating that later in a test.
So if we think about your panel, it can be used as both an Android and a Windows device. Am I right?
Yes, there's two operating systems that it comes with. So standard, it comes with the Android operating system, currently running Android 9.0, which is extremely good. It's very, very fast. It gives you all the tools that you might need to create lessons, broadcast, content from a laptop or anything like that, use the internet. But if you do need something a little bit more advanced, we have the PCs available. It's a pluggable computer that you can upgrade to later, and that just gives you access to so much more. So you have access to your Windows applications. If you had smart or Promethean technologies, all of those applications you can transfer onto the Windows platform. And then you also have access to the Windows App Store. And I know you also have, through the Windows App Store or the Play Store, there's a lot of teaching applications for free that you can access and use at your leisure. So it's not just limited to then our applications. You have the world at your fingertips.
So do you want to start by showing us the Android? Is yes. That your intention?
Yes. So the Android side, I've got the Android side open on the back at the moment. I just want to mention that if I'm moving to the side, the camera will autofocus on the panel, so I might become a little bit dark. And then the other thing is, I also want to ask everybody if we can engage in the chat. If you like what you're hearing, please send me some thumbs ups. If you don't like what you're hearing, thumbs downs would also be appreciated. But firstly, I want to quickly just touch on how you can perhaps get your students to engage with you on the panel in a lesson format. So let's say, for instance, today you are working on arrangements or anything like that. So let's say you want to have people arrange certain things into a table for you. So on this panel, this is called our smart table. So this will essentially work for you. You don't have to minimize, maximize, anything like that. And then you can perhaps ask your student to come up to the panel and then do some research on, tonight we're going to talk about baguettes. Just for those that haven't had lunch or dinner yet, so I can make you a little bit more hungry. And so if you have written the word on the panel, your student can then turn that into block letters or actual writing for you, and then search that directly onto the internet. So then this will give them a small explanation of what a baguette is. And according to Google, it is a long, narrow French loaf. And then you can also insert any of these images or information that you found on the baguettes directly into the panel by simply
clicking, look good,
holding and dragging. I must say, I'm getting extremely hungry. So then once you have all the information on the panel, your student can go forward or go on and then arrange it accordingly into the blocks. So obviously, if you have more information, let's say flowers on the right, they can arrange them accordingly. But as you saw there, the blocks did expand and they accommodated all the content for you. And it's just a way of engaging with your students on the panel and making them use all of the features at once, instead of just having to look at you while you're doing all the fun stuff on the panel.
So with just what you've shown, if we think about what people have said with remote learning and the way some of the schools are still having to cope with the hybrid system, teachers could be standing in their classroom like this with the camera on. Children at home can actually see what's happening really easily. Children in the classroom can see what's happening easily. So you don't have to be reteaching this lesson twice. You can be teaching it once. Everybody's getting the same experience. And your students could be collaborating with you on a digital format. Perhaps there's another platform you've got open as well, another window or another tab, and they could be chatting on that. So they can also be asking you questions even if they're at home. Am I right?
Yes, 100%. So when the lockdown first started, that is what I basically did, is I recorded myself presenting lessons and then saving them on Google Drive or OneDrive, and so that teachers and students could access that through those means. So yes, you have the ability to stream from here, because Zoom works on both the Android side as well as the PC side, and there's a full-fledged video editing and recording program that you get with the panel if you purchase the PC, which means you can actually record that whole lesson, edit it down, and then save it on your OneDrives for your peers or students to get later access to later. And they can also collaborate then on those platforms with the videos and everything that you have given them. All right.
Okay, so that's really great that you're given that opportunity to do those different things.
All right, and then next I want to quickly just showcase how you can then, if you have the student come up to the panel and she's now done the lesson with you, you can, before the class ends at the end of the day, let's say you have about 10 minutes left, you can maybe just see if they've retained any of the information that you've just given them, that they have learned on the panel, through another program that is called Air Class, which I already have open over here. So this just gives you the option to play games with your students. So like a responder, so the first to press OK on their phone, their name will pop up and they can come perhaps present, or you can have a single or multiple choice pop quiz with them quickly by simply pressing on the voter option, and then that will open up your single or multiple choice pop quizzes. I'm going to choose single choice, say begin, and then I've already entered the classroom on my phone. So I'm just going to say, well, the answer, let's say the answer was A. So I'm going to submit my answer. And then once the panel has received it, my name will pop up. So if you have, you can, sorry, I forgot to mention, you can add up to 30 student devices to this program. And then once all your users has answered, it will tell you that you have a complete set of answers. And then you can finish, which will then bring up your answer statistics. So in my case, I know the answer I said was A, so then 100% of my class was correct, and I can be happy and send them off on their way. If the answer would have to be B, then unfortunately I will have to keep them for a little bit longer and just try to explain to them why or what a baguette is, depending on your pop quiz that you actually had, but our topic was about baguette, so I'm going to stick with it.
So that's really great. For me, instant feedback and auto marking and those kinds of things can really assist us as teachers, because we can use them as quick pop quizzes to find out how our children are doing and if they're doing really well. So that's really great. We've got a question from Edward. Hi, Edward. Edward's saying, I'm interested on how you connect your online assessment to learners' devices. So do they then just get that code that you spoke about that you put onto your phone?
So for this specific program, unfortunately, it is Wi-Fi dependent. So if you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you can access it. Other than that, you are able to stream to online platforms, and most of the online platforms have annotation tools and comment sections. So unfortunately, you are then limited to what they give you, but you are still able to give them the content and engage with them through an online platform. And unfortunately, this instant feedback won't be able to do that with the online learners, but you can do that with everybody in the class.
So if you gave them a Google form or a Teams form and they then use that link, open it up, you would be able to see the results if you, the teacher, had the results section open.
100%,
Great.
yes. You can use all of those applications on the panel as well through Google Chrome or the internet browser.
That's really great. Is there anything else you want to show us on the Android one before we move over?
Yes, I quickly just want to touch on to ScreenShare Pro, which is a program. It runs on both sides. It doesn't matter where you are on the panel, but I feel like it's a little bit easier when we are on the Android side. So ScreenShare Pro essentially allows you to share mobile devices or laptops to the panel, as well as split the screen up to 6 times. For instance, let's say you have all your content on your laptop and you don't want to necessarily load a profile onto the system or get it through your OneDrive, then it's as simple as connecting your laptop to the panel, and you can say start sharing your screen, which will then start sharing your content from your laptop to the panel. And this also shares the touch. So I can essentially open up anything from my laptop without having my laptop present. So you can essentially get access to all your teaching material through that way and then save it directly onto your laptop as well. So that just makes your life a little bit easier. However, it also gives you the option to split the screen up to 6 times. So I only have 3 extra devices with me at the moment. So I'm going to start splitting the screen. Now for my iPhone, I've set it to have a dim effect. So as soon as that dims, it will cut the connection. So let's say you are sharing your phone and you forgot it active on the table. Don't worry about it. The phone going down will automatically cut the connection as well. All right. Okay. And then to share the last screen, let me just, there we go. So that is 3 screens being shared at once at the moment. You can take them off if you need to. So let's say someone's sharing content that's not appropriate. You can take that content off easily. And then you can obviously collaborate with your students this way. Let's say they have content, let's say they had to do an essay and they want to showcase that essay on the panel through their mobile devices. You can connect multiple students to the device and then they can show their content on the panel accordingly, and you can then engage with them by annotating on the screen. So let's say you want to showcase something on the student's work. Let's say this is a document, then you can actually point certain things out on the panel for them to then see. You can save it as an image and send it back to them so that they can also get that, learn out of what the mistake they made or whatever you said that they might have improvements on. They can actually get that image at a later stage and then work from that as well. All right, and that's the ScreenShare Pro program. It's very, very cool, very innovative, but it's simple. You share content to the panel. You can either use your laptop or your mobile device, and it supports up to 6 devices. All right.
Oh wow. Some people are saying the signal is a bit slow. Jaco, Amina, I'm sorry, we can't switch cameras off on this program, but hopefully the signal will pick itself up. I'm not sure why it's going slow. Sorry.
I apologize. So
Jaco, are you now going to show us the... No worries, go.
No, I said it might be because I was sharing all the content at once. We've had some issues with our internet today. Like I mentioned before, the program was giving me some issues, but it worked. So the update was perfect. Right. So we can move over to the PC side now, and then continue on with the chat on that side.
Okay, so I'm sharing that screen.
Okay, perfect. So on this side, I want to showcase that, yes, you do have access to all of the other applications that I've mentioned, your PC Note, not your PC Note, your Microsoft applications, all of those programs. However, for the PC, you get the Capture, which is your editing and recording program, and then the PC version of Note, which is open behind me, but you guys are just seeing the full panel. It does come with the standard... No, let me just, technology, when it doesn't want to work with you. Let me just, what is wrong with it? Yeah, apologies. The PC is now not when I want to work with. Can I quickly stop sharing the screen, Karen, and just reshare it? Okay.
Yes, please do.
There we go. I think that is what's causing the issue. Let's just switch back.
I'll tell you when it's here.
Okay. Why are you not working?
We can also just make it big, like we did just now, if that's easier.
It's like, I think it's technology and it's decided to hang, but now it gives me a perfect opportunity to show how quickly you can reset these panels, and you don't have to worry about saving or any of that. You can just simply turn the panel off, turn it on. It comes with an SSD hard drive, which means it will boot up extremely quickly, and you can get back to teaching if something were to happen, like a power outage or a network failure or anything like that. I apologize, but it does unfortunately happen with tech every now and again.
It's just technology.
Especially when you're trying to present.
Tell us about the durability of the panel.
Okay, so these panels are extremely durable. For instance, my colleague Vicky has dropped one down a hill at a school and it was perfectly fine. They do also come with tempered glass in the front. So if something were to, let's say, come through the window, I don't know, rugby, a cricket ball, you never know in schools, the panels are extremely durable. So you can hit them, and
Oh,
I don't
wow.
normally show that to students because then there will be a bunch of stuff that happens to the panel. However, you can also, Vicky has written with scissors. She loves writing with scissors on my panels. I don't know why, but anyway, so that is also, it will be fine. It's tempered glass, it won't scratch, and everything will still be working for you the next morning. So it's extremely durable and will last.
And if somebody writes on one of them with a wrong pen, can you clean them easily? So, you know, that was an issue with the older type devices where somebody would take a marker and write all over it instead of an interactive pen. So is that an issue? Can you clean them?
You can clean them. So luckily, because it's the tempered glass, you can just use an alcohol-based sanitizer, and that will take off the permanent marks quite quickly. I must say, when I started at this, with this, I almost wrote on a teacher's whiteboard, interactive whiteboard, and I must say the yells and everything I got from her was quite dramatic. So since that day, I've never tried to write with a pen on any panel. All right, so I'm going to quickly open up the note program. It seems like it's the StreamYard. I can quickly go back and enter the link if that's fine, or do you just want to keep it like this and make it big like we had the previous one?
Should we make it big like that? Otherwise, we've got to put people through the code and the everything else.
No, that's fine. Okay. Let's just keep it like this. All right. So with the Note program on the PC side, you do get different modes of using it. So number one would be the presentation mode, which is like this at the moment. You have your 20 touch, your back of the hand gesture erasing, so you can create content and erase content quite easily on the panel without having to switch between the tooltips. You also have a preparation mode. So recently we've been getting a lot of questions on if we can give this program to personal laptops. So for instance, if a student, if a teacher wants to create a lesson at home, she can create that lesson at home on her laptop, load it onto the panel as a note file, and then just access it directly from here. And then the last option you have is desktop mode. So let's say, for instance, you are working on a PowerPoint or a PDF. I wanted to show it across Streamlabs now, but unfortunately that won't work. So but that means you can do it over Zoom or any of your streaming applications as well. So let's say you have a presentation active and there's some writing on it. You can then access the Note program in desktop mode, which will allow you to essentially make annotations anywhere on the panel to point things out for your students. So if you have pre-prepared work on a PDF, for instance, you can then use this program to highlight certain things on the PDF on the panel, just to make it easier for that content to be absorbed and to be understood. You also have access to all of the other features that you get through the Note program. So you can use your back of the hand gesture erasing. You can also save and add additional effects like your timers and your zoom functions and all of that through the desktop mode.
So Jaco, when you were doing this just now, you used all your fingers and it made lots of lines.
Yes.
So in theory, in terms of your learners, how many children can you actually have working on a board at the same time?
Okay, so with stylists, you have up to 7 points of touch, so you can have 7 people writing at the same time. And with your students, you can have up to 10 fingers on the panel at one time.
Oh, thank you. That's really great.
So like, for instance, there's the 20 or the 10 fingers, and then you can have 7 stylists. Unfortunately, the panel only allows you to write in 2 different colors at the same time, but you can have up to 7 stylists. So.
Very cool.
Okay. Yeah, so that was the Note program. Just to show that you can use that in conjunction with any of your streaming programs. So let's say you are still on the dual or the hybrid system and you are sharing or streaming your content from the panel, then that annotations and everything will also be streamed. So your students at home will be able to see it, your students in the class will be able to see it. And if you recorded the lesson, your students later watching the video will also be able to see all of that content.
So won't you tell us a bit about the software that's used on there? I know that when I was playing on it, there were some really cool kind of adaptations and animations and simulations that you could create. So is there other software, or do you want to show some of that software?
So mostly that all comes through the Note program. It has 4 different subject matters, which will include maths, English, science, and chemistry. and apparently it picks up mosquitoes as well. So I'm going to just quickly swap through the chemistry quickly. So with this, you get a whole bunch of teaching tools available at your fingertips. So let's just put some stuff on the panel. So for instance, the periodic element for calcium, this atomic structure looks like that. You can duplicate that structure by simply pressing the button, and then you can also compare that with any element on the periodic table by simply pressing a few buttons, and that will then adjust the atomic structure for each, and it's more visual way of learning. And then for these beakers, you can essentially showcase a full chemistry experiment. However, for tonight, I'll just do my color mixing experiment. So that would be green, this would be yellow, and then this would be blue. So then if I turn this, let's just align everything the right way. So if I turn this one, you'll see the liquid will fall out. If I can get it, oh, sorry, I forgot to take the cap off. So it is very interactive as well. So if you put the cap on, nothing will fall out. So let's just take the cap off, move it slightly. And then I'm going to try and move this so that you can see, but as you can see, then it will overflow accordingly. So that's my explanation on how to mix colors. But if you're a scientific or a chemistry teacher, I'm sure you can get much more experiments going on the panel than I can. I don't want to blow anything up, so I normally don't try and mix chemicals on the panel.
Although that's quite cool. I think that's the kind of space where we could really be getting children to be doing unusual experiments, and it's not costing you any money in terms of chemicals, but actually showing them what chemicals can do and what kind of reactions you can get. So that's really exciting.
And there's also no mess to clean up afterwards. So like I don't have to clean the floor, luckily. It's all done for me. So I just want to say, while I have this open, so the note program does come with the 4 subject matters. So you have maths, science, physics or chemistry, physics, and then English, which is a 4-line writing grid for your lower grades. But I also want to say that it does come with the capture program, which is the editing and recording program, which has closed because I had to restart the computer. So you can edit or record the full panel if my technology, there it's coming. So you can essentially record the full panel. As a lesson, you can add cameras, so then you can have your picture in picture. So if you are then have a camera active on you, I just might need to change it to the right camera, then you will be in frame. So then your students can actually see you while you are presenting your lesson. You can edit it afterwards and everything like that. And then I also want to mention that these updates are all free for life. So once you buy the panel, you'll get the license, no recurring subscription fees or anything like that. And the updates will also run over the air. So you don't have to worry about them being out of date. You can just leave them as is. If there's a new update, it will run automatically, and you will always have the latest version of the program available for you.
So if we're thinking about the panel and you're thinking of it as a long-term device, how often do you need to get it serviced or checked or things like that?
So with the after-sale service that we do offer, I try and get to my schools at least 2 times a year just to make sure that everything is running, but that will be a physical visit. But normally I am in contact with all of them on a weekly basis just to make sure that there's no issues. Maybe there's some power issues or anything like that we can sort out. So we try and have the panel running as long as possible, and I haven't had any major issues in the last 2 years to the sense that we had to replace anything like that. It was normally just a small technical issue or a firmware update, and that sorted out the panel's issues, and that again just increases the lifetime of the panels, because the panel already has a longer lifespan than your traditional projector bulb, which is about 30,000 hours, if I'm not mistaken. This runs up to 55 to 60,000 hours. So it's a long time, and it's very robust, very durable. So I don't think you will have issues with it. The only problem is technology moves fast. So you might get an updated model version in the future, but it's more or less going to stay the same, and all the improvements will go back to the previous models as well.
And then if with you talking about software and getting the updates, how often should you switch your panel off? I mean, I know some schools don't switch them off and they just put them to sleep at night. Do you need to switch it off? Does it only update when it's switched off? Is there something like that you want to give teachers a tip around?
So you can, if it starts up in the morning, it checks up. So every time I have the, every time I start the panels up in the morning, it checks automatically for all the updates. On Windows, you do have to do it automatically through the Windows update system, but all of the other applications will be kept up to date on the Android side and on the PC side. It will also all run automatically. So essentially, I just put mine off at night, turn it on in the morning, and it will run the update. However, if you put it in sleep, then your panel will always be up to date. It doesn't matter what, because then when you're not there, it will just update during the night.
Cool. If anybody's got questions, please ask them and pop them into the chat. Jaco, you speak about personalized support. What do you mean by that?
So we try and accommodate schools. Like, we don't, how can I say, we're not here to make you waste money. So if the panel isn't working for you, in a sense that we won't try and sell it for you. So we try and do the same with the support system. So if you have certain things that you need to be done, so for instance, if you have a certain system at your school, we can personalize our support to fit in with your system so that we don't clash when it comes to reporting and going back to check if everything has been done. So for instance, we can set up personalized service level agreements for your school. You can tell us what you like, you can tell us what you don't like, just to make sure that the entire scope of the project is fulfilled and that everybody is happy with what they're getting at the end of the day. We also offer support groups on WhatsApp as well as a help desk. So you have all these options available for you to get the quickest support possible.
And in terms of turnaround time, if people ordered devices, is there a wait? We know that with COVID, there are all sorts of crazy things with delays and chips not available and all sorts of things. Are there delays at the moment?
Not for us, but like for computers last year, there was a big delay with the chipsets. But luckily for us, we do have stock specifically on the 65 inches. We do have stock coming for the 75 and 86 inches, depending on what your school would need. So for the 75 and 86, it might be a couple of weeks, but for 65 inches, we can help you immediately. And just while we're on the subject of turnaround, if the PC, for instance, decides to pack up and break and it's still under warranty, because it's a pluggable unit, we can take it out for you, bring you a new one to use, or you can use the Android side while we send the PC for repairs. And that normally takes about a week for a turnaround time. Depending if we give you a new one, it will be the same day.
Oh, wow, that's really great. Now, I know that the one I saw was on these fantastic wheels and we could move it around. So if you're a school that can't afford lots of devices, is it the kind of device that's robust enough to be able to be pushed from one classroom to another for teachers to use at different times and to share it?
We try and market it that way. We do have a bunch of, or a couple of different stands available. So you have your standard mobile stand, which as a new sleek design, but it made it also a lot lighter. So it's easier to move the panels through the classrooms. And especially if you have that small trunking at the bottom, it's not difficult to pick up the panel and just take it over the trunking. The panel design has also become smaller. So the panel, actually the 65-inch only weighs 45 kilograms. So I can physically pick that up on my own. So to move it between the classrooms, it's extremely easy. And then you also have the option of, sorry, I'm pointing there because that's where the stand is, but you have an option of the height adjustable stand. So it's the same type of stand, but then you can lower it to where your grade ones will be able to access it, and you can also make it higher for like an auditorium so that everybody can see, even if they're right at the back.
That's really great, because I do think that if we're starting to use these devices in our classrooms, that lower is better, especially if we want the children to engage. There can be wonderful group activities happening on those boards, and you as the teacher can be doing something completely different with the children.
100%. I've seen so many, I've had the privilege of sitting in a few classrooms and seeing how teachers do use them. And obviously it's a whole spectrum. But so for instance, some I've seen with the smaller children, when they were doing math homework, they were in groups of four, and there was 4 groups. So they just shared all of the iPads to the panel, and the teacher was actually marking stuff while they were doing the math work, and then she could see all the calculations and everything on the panel. And so she actually engaged with them while marking. So she hit 2 doves with 1 stone in that session. But it just shows you what the panel gives you or allows you to do at the end of the day, if you know exactly or not know of the applications and the features that is available for you.
That's really great. I just want to end off by you telling us, why should teachers actually get this kind of device into their schools? What are the benefits overall, do you think?
Overall, I think it's just a very fun way of teaching. So we are moving forward in the world, and like I've mentioned this a few times, tech is improving at a dramatic pace. And I feel like if you keep up with the tech in certain sense in the schools, that you can just get the information over to your students a little bit better in that sense, because students are also evolving the same rate as the tech is. Yes, we might be a little bit behind the non-tech savvy people, the 1980s, the people that grew up with black and white cell phones. They might be struggling a little bit, but for your children, this is the future. They will be doing a job that isn't a job at the moment, and somehow you need to teach them how to do that job. And I feel like this tool will give you the capabilities of doing that. Would it be through the note program, or allowing your students to come and actually engage with the panel and create their own lessons or create their own homework assignments or anything like that on the panel? I just feel like it's a tool that in the future every school will have, and it's an amazing interactive tool. I must say, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with tutortouch, and I love engaging with the teachers and seeing the reaction just on what it can do. And like when they start thinking about, oh, but I can do this in the classroom, and then that will create more engagement over there, and maybe we can do collaborative spaces over here. And especially with COVID and going forward, where you might still need to do social distancing, this might just be the tool that allows you to do collaboration while you are still being social distance and adhering to all the protocols that we do need to.
Well, I think we need interactive walls in our classrooms. And I think this is
amazing.
the way of doing it, where you'd have more than one board, not just one board, and different groups of children can be working on different boards. And I think that could also become a really fun kind of space where learning can happen, but in a completely different way, where the children are engaged.
I agree 100% with you. And while you've mentioned that, I've actually not mentioned it, but with the ScreenShare Pro program, I'm just going to open up the interface. Over here, you'll see it says devices and copy screen. So what this program allows you to do... Just
show us again. I've made you big.
Over there, it gives me devices. So it doesn't get any devices at the moment because none of my other panels are turned on. However, if some of the other panels are turned on, I can screen copy the panels to each other. So then you can essentially have a big wall, like you said, all with, like, let's say you want to watch a movie, a very, very dumb explanation, but then you can screen copy them and have them in sections. So then you can have this massive TV wall or interactive panel wall with a bunch of lessons set up and everything like that for your students to use. And then everything will be linked with one application. You don't have to go through downloading a lot of stuff and fiddling with everything to have that active and done.
That's really, really great. As we end off, do you want to just talk to people again about the wonderful promo you're offering schools and institutions related to this webinar?
Yes, thank you, Corinne. So essentially, please remember to email us on info@kcsa. Like I said, it could be you can be requesting a quote just for more information or just to engage with us in general. If you use the promo code EVOLVE-KCSA22, you will be automatically entered into the draw for the 3-month giveaway promo for the free demo to be used at your school to see if it might work for you. And that will include training for your teachers as well as setup and all of that. So you don't have to worry about giving or trying to teach personnel how to use the panel. And then the other thing is, if you use the code and you do purchase one of these panels, you will be getting a free gift of either a speakerphone or a webcam to the value of 4,000 Rand, absolutely for free.
That's really amazing. Thank you for doing that. I really do thank you for coming on tonight and showing us what the panel can do and discussing the things with us. I really think it can change the way we engage with our students and really use this kind of technology in our classrooms in a different way, not just like an old blackboard. I must say, I know it's irritated you, but I really loved the pictures and thought that just shows you how interactive the board can become, and that it starts showing you the images that are there. So just think of that as teachers. If the board's not being used, you could be having other information up there. So it's not having just a poster on the wall. It could be a moving poster, just like those images that hop up behind Jaco all the time.
That's very true.
Thank you so very much for sharing this evening. I want to say thank you to all of you for joining us. Please do send them an email if you've got any questions or queries. And thank you for participating this evening. I'm going to switch off the call. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for having us. Everybody, thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Evening. Sorry. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Say.
All right.
I see before I close that we've been told thank you very much. So I agree. Wash your hands. Thanks, everybody, for participating. I'm pleased you found it interesting. So thanks then. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody.